In this session, we are going to install phones using three methods. Two of the methods can be used for both Android and iOS, and just one of the methods is Android only. So, keep following the instructions, and then you have the ultimate guide for installing phones in any applications. Now I want to install Poppins phones. Just Poppins Bold and Poppins Lite. The first method is both for Android and iOS, but this method is only used when your React Native version is below the 0.6. So, if your React Native version is below 0.6, do the following. Make an src folder in the root of the application. Then in the src, make an assets folder. In the assets folder, make a phones folder. And then drag and drop your phones in the phones folder. Then go to the package.json and under the gist, make rnpm assets and this is an array that contains the address of the phones folder that we made. Means that src assets phones. Just go to your application folder, open up cmd, then run React Native link and hit enter. Then phones will be linked to iOS and Android project. But if your React Native version is not below 0.6 and you want to use your phones in Android and iOS, in the root of your application, make a file named React Native.config.js. In this file, write module.exports equals to project iOS Android and then after that create an assets that's an array that contains the address of the phones folder that you created. Assets src assets phones. And then save it. Go to your application folder, open up cmd, run React Native link and hit enter. And your phones will be linked to both iOS and Android. That's done. Assets have been successfully linked to your project. Okay, close the cmd. And if you want to check that the phones are linked correctly, go to your Android folder, app, src, main, and you see here a folder named assets appears that contains the phones folder with your phones. In the third method, that is Android only, we go to this address just this address, Android app src main. We make an SS folder if it doesn't exist already. Make a fonts folder inside it, and then copy and paste your fonts in this folder. And you're all done, and you can use your fonts easily. Now we want to know how to use our fonts. Our fonts are linked correctly, and now we want to use our fonts. Just go to your src folder, make a folder named shared, and inside it make a constants.js file to define the font families that you use in your whole application. The shared folder is generally used for the constants, functions, and components, and anything that all your components and files share together. So here we define a const normal font family equals to Poppins light, and hold Shift and Alt together, then hit down button to copy the line, then rename it to bold font family and rename it to Poppins bold. And this works in Android because you have used the font's name as the font's family. But in iOS, you have to use PostScript name as a font's family. So, if you want to find the PostScript name, just go to your fonts book and you see that. Now, we want to say that if it was Android, use this name, and if it was iOS, use the PostScript name, for example, Poppins light, or here Poppins bold. Okay, how to do that? React Native have something named platform. Just import that from React Native. If you hit IMRN, you can import some modules from React Native. So you import the platform module, and just here you define a const iOS equals to platform.os equals to exactly iOS. This means that you have an iOS constant that if it was true, it tells you that the device is iOS. And if it was false, it tells that the device is Android. And we use it here. We say that not iOS. If it was not iOS, use Poppins light. If it was iOS, use Poppins light. Then here the same goes. iOS. If it wasn't iOS, use Poppins bold as bold font family. If it wasn't iOS, use Poppins bold without dash as the font family, or your PostScript name here. Okay, now we have made our constants correctly, and just we want to export it to use in our components. Export normal font family, bold font family. Now we want to use this font family to see that our fonts are applying in the text components. Go to your src folder again, make a new folder named components. In the components, make a component named home.js. For example, it is a test component. We just want to show that the fonts are correctly linked and applied in our text components. This is a test component to just see that the fonts are applied correctly and linked correctly. Okay. Writing IMR, it imports React from React. Write IMR in, it imports module from React Native, and you say that we want Vue components from React Native. Then make your home components as a function. Return a unit and export default home. Okay, now I want a text module, and I use 3 of it to test without font, with bold font, and with light font. The first one is with bold font, for example. Style, font family, bold font family. As you see, it has been imported from the shared constants. That's because we have not made an index.js for the shared folder. So we do it. We make an index.js, and here we say that export everything from constants file. So if we remove this line and then re-import it, fonts family, doesn't understand now. You can do it manually to shorten your imports. Import something from just go out of the components folder and say that it is in shared folder, and you see that it knows the bold font family. So we use it, bold font family, copy this style, give this style to the next one, and import light font family, normal font family, and here you can use it, normal font family. And we here write, this is the text with bold font, this is text, this is a text with normal font, and this is a text without font. And we check that if our fonts are applying and what's the difference between these 3 lines of text. Let's check it. Now we run React Native, run Android again. If you have opened Node.js window, please close it, because after you install every packages and any fonts, you have to rerun your application to make changes affect the components and apply in your application. Okay, our application is opening. Now you see that our fonts are applied and our application is ready. So we are ready for the next section.